Hey everybody, welcome back to Review the Nerds. I'm Vincent.
And I'm Mike, and today we're reviewing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. You can hear the excitement in my voice right now.
Yeah, we literally just came from seeing this movie and...
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. That's as much enthusiasm as I can give. The first Ninja Turtles movie, the reboot, I was not really a fan of particularly. I thought that it was okay. I mean, but you had like Iron Man, Shredder, and you had Splinter learning basically a lifetime of martial arts experiences by reading a book, and Megan Fox just being there as furniture.
Basically, we've brought in another one of the Turtles' classic villains, Kraang. He's working in tangent with Shredder out of nowhere, and they're trying to bring
They're trying to Loki from Avengers this shit, bring a dimensional rift.
Dimensional rift and
Raptors
mega weapon. It's a Technodrome, technically. And Bebop and Rocksteady are there too, and Casey Jones and
Megan Fox's boobs. It's a cartoon. The movie's a cartoon. If you're a child, you might overlook the incredibly spoon-fed exposition and the zanily, out-of-this-world break from physics and reality. I mean, the turtles bounce off walls and through buildings in a way that is like, you know, a pinball machine. It's so hard. It's so hard to be attached to anything that's really going on because you never feel any real danger. They introduce characters in this movie that some, you know, as a fan of the franchise and of the story, I've been waiting to see since I was a child. Kraang being a major one that I've always wanted to see in the big screen, and he's there, but he pops in the most random of ways and gives us horribly spoon-fed exposition that's terrible, and I just thought that he was just, he was so uninteresting, and he wasn't really there that long enough for me to give a shit about. Even Casey Jones, my man, Stephen Amell. I love Stephen Amell. I mean, Arrow, he is so badass in Arrow, okay? Anyone who agrees with our opinion of this movie and feels that this Casey Jones sucks, it can't be his fault because I've seen him be a badass. It must be the director's fault, whoever. But yeah, he's disappointing. He's not the Casey Jones we remember and love, you know, from ye old days at all. They give him this new backstory where he's like this police officer, SWAT dude that wants to be detective and blah blah blah. Megan Fox's boobs are back. That's pretty much all she's there for as April O'Neil. She looks like a porn star and her acting range is about the same. I'm sorry, but she's not a good actress. She is just there for just the way she looks. That's it. No real character, no depth. She's a throwaway. Bebop and Rocksteady, they are other characters I've been waiting to see a long time. The actors, I think they kind of are doing their best, but it's a cartoon. Most of the issues I have are probably not going to be issues for children, so if you have kids, you know, take them to see it. As an adult, I had trouble sitting through it. I was pretty bored. I'd say the action scenes I was also equally bored during. I was so detached, it was just like watching someone play a video game. The CGI is kind of cartoony also. It's better than the last one, maybe by a little bit, but there's little details, like when the turtles breathe, the way that their chests expand, it just doesn't look natural to, you know, the way their bodies are put together. This reboot series just doesn't have a lot to offer to me. It's not to say that everything's terrible. They do put a little bit more emphasis this time on the inner relationships of the brothers, the turtles, and, you know, how they are struggling for their place in the world, and they, you know, desire to be more human, and there's some, you know, there's some bickering and some arguments and some clashing of stuff between the characters I think was alright. Every now and then there was like maybe one little action beat that was okay. I think the guy who plays Michelangelo does a good job, and Raphael, they're both pretty much what I always envisioned. Leonardo this time was good too. I'm glad they got rid of Johnny Knoxville. He was not a good choice for Leonardo, but the new voice I thought was better. Donatello was also good. The Turtles are all good. The CGI for them is kind of questionable sometimes. Splinter's voice I'm still not a fan of. I always am going to envision him as a elderly Japanese voice in my mind. If you're a big fan of the Turtles from the 80s and 90s, it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, the first Turtles film, if I had to, like, rate it of this franchise, the series. I would say it was like a C at best. I see. This one is definitely a D. This one's a full blown D. The exposition in this film is rampant, and in one part, blatant. The first scene between Kraang and Shredder is the most blatant and forced exposition I think I've ever fucking seen in a movie. It is just exposition thrown in your face. There's no denying it. It's just forced and quick and blah blah. And you're like, wait, what? So they're wait, what? What's that? What? Okay.
I had a hard time giving a shit about what they just said.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, Kraang is voiced by Brad Garrett, and God bless him, I think he's a fine actor, but you can tell that they're in the studio when they told him, like, read the lines, they told him, alright Brad, we want you to just go really silly and cartoony, and make this character fun and simple for kids. And it's like, no, don't treat kids like idiots. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are kids out there who are just as stupid as any as adult, but don't treat them like they're stupid, because they might, if you treat them like they're smart, they might actually learn something. Yeah, Casey Jones, they just, holy shit, was that, his dialogue, all of his dialogue was atrocious. It was horrible. You take this really cool, badass character who was grew up on the streets, learned to fight by himself and to street fight.
Poor Mel.
Yeah,
he's better than this.
I know. It's just they killed Casey Jones, and the relationship between him and April was forced. I don't know. There's no reason for them to like each other at all. He has no charm to him. Another character that really bugged me in this film was Baxter Stockman, played by Tyler Perry.
I was like, is that Tyler fucking Perry?
It was, and not Tyler Perry anymore, not that. It was weird. His dialogue was just as bad as Stephen Amell's playing Casey Jones. It's like, are you, like, he's like this weird, creepy nerd, I guess? Like this weird, creepy, I mean, he's Baxter Stockman, so he's science. Will Arnett is back in this movie. And for the love of Christ, Will, what the fuck are you doing in this movie? Get the fuck out. You are a good actor. You're very hilarious. You voice the main character of one of my favorite anime shows on television right now, BoJack Horseman.
He also has Lego Batman, I think.
Yeah, he's got the Lego Batman. Will, you're funny, man. Get the fuck away from this. I don't know what contract you have, but burn it. Incinerate it. Get out of this. If there's another Turtles movie after this one, unless it's a reboot or a remake, Will, stay the fuck out of it, man. The only one good thing I can say about this film that was an improvement over the last one, even though everything else seems to get worse, is that they do try to have character development between the Turtles. Try to show them issues between them working as a team and issues between them as brothers. They actually try, and for most of the film, I admit that was probably the most enjoyable part of it, but then at the end of the movie, it has such an unsatisfying end. They just kind of work out their problems without really working them out. Like, they had this, I guess it's one little vague moment where Leo gives them the other Turtles what they need, but then it's gone. It's just like, okay, you took the one good thing this film had going and fucked it.
It was about them becoming a team, which I felt like in the last one they already were, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think, though, the one thing that you can agree with is that the performances of the Turtles, acting-wise, not CGI-wise all the way, but I think the voice actors did a good job.
I will say they were solid, which I think is probably whoever is covering the part of the script that was about the Turtles, and they're probably putting the most effort in. However, certain things that did bother me were kind of with Donatello. Donatello, no matter what incarnation of the Turtles you've experienced, whether cartoon or comics or movie, he's always been the brain of the brains of the group. He's the smartest one. He's the best with technology and like chemistry and all that, you know. But in these movies, they make him seem so goddamn intelligent. And in this one, he's a super genius. He understands technology in this film that he shouldn't be understanding.
He hacks into an advanced extraterrestrial computer.
Yeah, I just I don't think he hit more than 10 buttons to do it. It was weird. He knows and understands things in the way that Batman stereotypically has something on his utility belt for every situation. Like, seriously, there was a moment in this film I was like, did he just shark repellent us?
Hand me down the shark repellent bat spray!
There's a moment in this film where a tank is floating. A tank is floating.
On water. You're arguing that in a movie where Raphael is hit by a how many ton plane going how many miles an hour and doesn't get hurt at all? There's no laws of physics in this movie. The laws of physics are right out the window. I mean, that's what I was saying. There's no real danger or threat in this movie. I never felt for one second any kind of real threat It was so cartoony.
Yeah. The only thing you really felt that the Turtles would just kind of fuck up from time to time. That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a very cinematic piece of film. It just feels like an overblown cartoon episode.
Yeah. I mean, the pacing's not that great either.
The one thing I will kind of disagree with you on is I don't know if I would say this is worse than the first one that they did. I feel like it's on par because there's pros and cons to both. Like for instance, we mentioned that one thing that this has over the first one is the brothers, their relationships with each other, the development that goes through between the four of them, and also I'd say that they maybe advanced some of the action a little bit.
Yeah, there were parts of the movie where the action was...
Because the first one had that ridiculous, avalanche going down the snow mountain sequence that was just ridiculous. And
I kind of liked it. I thought it was a...
How many miles was that mountain? This is in New York. This is right outside New York where there's no snow anywhere in the city, and yet there is... it looks like they're in Alaska. It was ridiculous, and they're surfing down on their shells, and that sequence in the first one was ridiculous. I think the action was improved. It's just the same problem with the first one, where I feel no reality in the action. So I just feel detached. I don't care. During the whole finale, I was having trouble paying attention. Like I seriously was zoning out. The most unenthused we've ever been in a review, I think. But I don't know. I'm just indifferent. Their Turtles car is kind of ridiculous. There's like an element gadget to the car for each one of their specialities. Like there is like a nunchuck weird thing that came out of the thing.
Giant nunchuck arms.
And there's even samurai swords that get launched from it. Like they have this one option where Leonardo pushes this button and samurai swords are getting flipped out of it. It was just ridiculous. I'm sure it's going to make a great toy for kids. I mean,
remember the original Turtle fan? Yeah.
I mean, this is very much like Batman and Robin thinking, let's try to figure out how we can make a lot of toys off this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because seriously, I hope the toy line is fantastic, because otherwise this movie's not going to make its money back. I mean, don't get me wrong, the original Turtle film had a few ridiculous moments in it, but it was a far better film than this. And it was actually an independent film at first until it got picked up by New Line Cinema. So they actually completed most of the film before New Line Cinema came on board. And yet, that movie was so much more better. So much more better.
Yeah, it just felt more gritty, more real. You felt real danger. Go, Turtles. Yeah. Whatever, Turtle Power.
The only last thing I'll say is I'm sorry if our review is boring.
The movie, it's reflecting the movie.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching our video. Please let us know what you're thinking down in the comments. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Did we miss anything? Whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll check them out and respond to you when we can. Please give us a like and, of course, subscribe to our channel. But until next time, I'm Vincent.
Oh, sorry, I was zoning out again. I was just replaying the movie in my head. I'm Mike.
And this has been
Review of the Nerds.
Check you next time.
Cowabunga.
You want to go get a pizza?